Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Oh, hi! If you're looking for another spooky and funny podcast to add to your rotation, check out Anything Bones, now part of the Podmoth Network.
Hey Boneheads, I'm Sophie Schwartz.
And I'm Caitlin Hart.
And we're the hosts of Anything Bones, the podcast where we talk about bones and bone-related topics.
Soph, what are bone-related topics?
Thank you for asking, Caitlin. This can be anything from mausoleums to murderers, famous skeletons to cadaver dogs.
Bone churches, mummies, serial killers. You'll hear about them all.
And sometimes we have guests stop by and tell us their favorite bony tales.
Check out Anything Bones on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or wherever your little heart desires.
We release new episodes every Saturday.
Bon voyage!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, and take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host, Dave, and I'm joined once again by Nicholas Heinzman. What's going on, champion?
Oh, living the dream. Currently drinking in the basement of a listener of the show, Jack Swimer. Jack, thank you for letting me use your basement as I record this.
Now, just so the listeners know, Jack, you didn't just show up to some random listener's house.
No, I kind of beat down the door and was like, hey, this is Nick from, the sometimes co-host of Cryptid Cocktail Party. I need to use your basement and crash your daughter's first birthday party.
Yeah, it was an emergency. We had to get this done.
Yeah, a couple hundred miles away from Philadelphia.
Well, I mean, whatever. All right, man. Well, you look good. I'm glad you're out there celebrating. I got nothing. My brain feels like it's going to explode. Well, we're doing something different today.
Yeah, because your brain feels like it's going to explode. Why don't I take the reins on this one?
Yeah, I like it when you take the reins. That wasn't meant to sound sexual.
Well, we're gonna actually hop into a time traveling DeLorean today because we're going all the way back to 1986, so kind of around when you were born.
Yeah, that's I was 87, so this is right in my wheelhouse. I'm pretty sure I was probably
you were actually probably the being that's in subject, that's going to be talked about today. So we're back in 1986. We're in Houston, Texas, right? Now, when you think of Texas, right?
All right. When I think of Texas,
what do you think of?
Alex Jones, the Alamo. Fuck it, I don't know. Armadillos. Are they in Texas? Cacti.
Yeah, those are. I'm pretty sure those are in Texas.
Sam Houston.
Okay,
that was a guy, right?
Yeah,
Davy Crockett.
I don't know if he was from Texas, but I'm pretty sure he died in Texas.
Yeah,
pretty sure he died at the Alamo.
All right, this bit's going on too long.
It was too long there. So when you think of Texas, I mean, the first things I think of are the scene from Pee Wee Herman when they talk about everything's bigger in Texas, and the line "Houston, we have a problem," which takes place, is actually at the Johnson Space Center, which is where this story will be taking place.
Okay.
Right. So this entire story takes place for maybe 5 minutes. The encounter is not even 5 minutes long.
How's this a whole episode?
Oh, it is a whole episode. Don't you worry.
God damn. All right.
So Johnson Space Center is obviously run by America's governing body of space exploration, NASA. It's actually where we get space exploration. And that's where we get the term Houston, we have a problem. And in a undisclosed day in 1986, Houston did have a very big problem as there was a literal gargoyle patrolling and sitting on top of the Houston. Would you like to know about Frank Shaw's gargoyle, Dave?
Oh my God, dude. I want to know everything about this gargoyle. Oh my God. I was not expecting that.
So when I asked you the other day, whether or not you wanted aliens or cryptids. I already knew what we were doing. I just wanted to know what you what you wanted to do, because this story has both.
Is okay. All right. Is it a cryptid? Is it both in one? Like, is the gargoyle an alien?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
It's a little fuzzy, but we'll get to it.
All right. I'll try not to interrupt so much, but I'm gonna have so many questions.
Oh, good. Oh, it's fantastic. The main encounter, or the main person who experienced this, was a archivist named Frank Shaw. Frank had worked, was one of those guys that would frequently work, burn the midnight oil. Was there working on whatever undisclosed NASA projects that were going on in 1986? Probably some Cold War stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
And one night he gets out a little bit later than normal. And as he was leaving the building, he immediately realized and felt that someone was watching him. Right.
Okay,
and he looked around and he sees no one in the parking lot, not a soul. It's besides the streetlights, there's really nothing going on. And as he's looking around, he starts to get the notion that he should probably, I don't know, look up on, just take a peek into the skies. So he looks up, and on top of one of the buildings on the center, or in the lot, there was a tall humanoid figure, jet black, just jet black humanoid figure. Right? Yeah. And Shaw immediately was just frozen in fear. Right.
Well, There's nothing worse than having the feeling that someone is watching you, and then I feel like it's even fucking more terrifying when you realize it's a giant black humanoid figure standing on top of a building. Like, I would be paralyzed with fear too. There's no way I would just be like, oh no, that's normal. All right.
So Sean described. Okay, bye. Sean, okay, bye. I'm just hanging out. Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
So Sean described it as about 7 to 8 feet tall. As most of these cryptids or one-off cryptids are.
Too big.
Jet black, and he referred to it as almost having like a cape, right? But the cape, instead of being fabric, was almost like wrinkly flesh, right? So just kind of imagine like, yeah, it gets so much worse.
Oh God.
So Shaw, now frozen in fear, it's not ideal. Oh, it gets so much weirder. Shaw, now frozen in fear, gets the feeling that, this gargoyle, as he called it, was getting off on the fact that the gargoyle knew that Frank was terrified. Getting off's the wrong term, but, he was enjoying the fact that Frank was terrified.
Well, it's kind of like shadow people are like the Hat Man. Like, they don't get off on your fear, but it kind of like feeds them almost like
they revel in it.
Like a psychic, like they're getting hyped up. Like, it gets them like pumped.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is fucking terrifying.
Well,
so
I mean,
my immediate. Oh yeah. I mean, it might not terrifying to them, but terrifying to us. So multiple people have kind of related this or described this almost to be like Jeepers Creepers, where it's like super wrinkly, that type of thing. And then
so bad.
It's not ideal. It's not ideal in the slightest.
Isn't the director like a fucking like? I think he's like
a pedo.
Yeah,
he's not a good guy.
I did. That's what I thought. All right. Sorry, continue.
So Shaw sits there for about, a minute, just being terrified. And then he is instantly like breaks, as he described it, as a stupor. How he had time to rip a few beers and get hammered is beyond me, but he referred to it as a stupor. Because the creature started to move, it was making like a cracking noise, almost like you would hear with concrete like breaking and stuff like that, to reveal 2 giant leathery bat wings just like protrude out of the skin cape.
I hate because
I hate everything about it.
There's nothing more visceral like when you're watching like a horror movie or like something like that, where like someone's turning into a werewolf and all you hear is like bones and flesh cracking. I fucking hate it. I mean, I love it, but I like if that ever happened to me in real life, I'd probably just end it. I think like
oh yeah.
You can die from literal fear, right? I feel like that's something like my heart would explode.
I think if it was either of us in this situation, we would both pretty much die.
It would break my mind. I'd be broken.
Yeah. I would crack just in half.
just physically just snap it.
Just physically just snap in half. And then pull the old switch, my body breaks in half.
And then the sound of your flesh and bones cracking would just make it worse. You just fold into yourself so hard, you become so dense, you just turn into like a black hole. Like the density of a dying sun just turns into you.
Everything dies around you. The gargoyle dies around you. So Frank then beelined from the building that he was in into his car. As he was doing that, he fumbled his keys literally in front of his car.
So this is
in
a horror.
Traditional horror. Exactly. That's and he looked back only once to notice that the creature was, blasting off, like flapping its wings, powerful wind, we're being around it. You can hear the wind and the gusts.
Like a flop, flop.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So he finally rips his car door open, dives into the car.
Yeah.
Apparently, just dives into his car, drives back. How he didn't get a speeding ticket is beyond me because, Texas.
Drove back to where? Just home?
Just home.
How do you just go home after that?
I have no idea, but he beelined to his house, did not look back to see.
Home is like safe. Like it's like when you're playing hide and seek or like tag, you have like a base, like
right.
Yeah, like
it's home base. Yeah,
nothing can get in here. Just pull the covers over your head, turn the lights off. Yeah, you're safe.
Right.
I still have that mentality to this day.
Oh yeah, you and me both. I if anything ever happens, I know where I'm going in my house to feel the most safe. It's great. It's called a plan of action.
Yeah. Is it the smartest? Probably not. Will I still get murdered? Probably yes.
Oh, 100%. So he gets home. He goes inside. His family immediately knows that something happened. They're like,
well, yeah,
Frank,
he probably looks like fucking hell.
Like he saw death. Yeah. So he gathers himself as much as he could, and he tells his family what he sees. He tells his wife and his young daughter, Desiree, who will come into the story later on.
Oh no, Desiree.
Oh, Desiree.
Oh no. She's fine, right? She's fine.
Yeah. No one dies. Okay. No one dies.
Just years of therapy.
No human dies. We'll get to that in a minute.
No.
Oh yeah. Might want to take a swig of a beer in about a couple minutes.
All right. Yeah.
So he tells his family what he saw. Now, Desiree has described her father as a pretty straight shooter. If he says something, for the most part, it's pretty spot on. So they immediately believe him, right? Yeah. But because he does work for NASA and he's an archivist, they probably they nudge him. Hey, you might not want to work about this because they're gonna think you're crazy and your credibility is gonna be shot to shit.
But I mean, it's also it's NASA in the 80s. I mean, they don't have cameras kicking around.
You would think so.
Like especially like a highly classified, not classified, but I'm sure a lot of stuff there's like it's probably very well fortified. You can't just wander on to like.
Oh, exactly. It's technically it'd be it's government property.
Yeah, it'd be like
so you just can't walk around.
Yeah, so you tell me that. So I feel like he should tell someone. I guess if they don't have any way to like he would sound crazy because this is insane.
Right.
All right.
Right. It's like peak 80s. Cronenberg's on the movies. Mid. All that stuff. It's
satanic panic going on.
Exactly. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Too much for little Frank Shaw's brain to comprehend. Now, after a couple weeks of sleepless nights and just
a couple weeks,
couple weeks. This goes on a couple weeks. He doesn't tell anybody.
So he saw this and then just like kept going back to work and like just vibing for a couple weeks without saying a word to anyone.
Maybe like a week or two, maybe not like 3 or 4, but like maybe 1 or 2.
That's still too long.
And we'll get to why time is a little hazy on like in between events in a minute.
All right.
So he finally realized, or comes to his senses, well, this is it's government property. There's a lot of sensitive projects going on here. I should probably tell somebody.
Yeah.
So he goes to his immediate supervisor.
I don't know if I would go. I don't know if I would go immediate supervisor. Well, I'd go to the mailroom first and kind of like test the waters, see what they think, and then if they think I'm insane, be like, I don't.
Well, luckily enough, his immediate supervisor and him were they were friends. They'd been there for quite a long time. After his story is done, Frank is immediately thinking, well, here I go. I'm going to be thrown into a padded room. My career as a NASA archivist is over.
Yeah.
To his shock, his supervisor, was like, you're really not the first person to tell us that.
Oh, no.
Right. I need you to go into detail with me on what happened. So Frank, kind of breaks everything down, goes back into extreme detail of everything he can remember. And his supervisor to try and console him, tells him that a secret file was actually opened not too far in the past because 2 of the sweet baby German shepherds that were guard dogs on base were brutally murdered and stuck dry like the Chupacabra.
No,
like similar to the Chupacabra murders.
Wait, hold on. So first of all, were 2 German shepherds all of NASA's security plan?
for that specific building, they had them like roaming that area.
But still, I still feel that's like a little.
They need to have at least 6.
A little lackluster, or just some people with guns, or
from all accounts, there was never any specific attacks on purpose or on people, right? So Frank instantly is like, okay, well, I'm not crazy, perfect. However, his story makes it up all the way up to top of the line, right? Like people in DC, NASA, DC is like, absolutely not. We got to put a squash to this. So they send out two supposed NASA agents to interview everybody and anybody
that has seen it,
that has seen the Gargoyle, right? And it's not like a good interview. It's it's
like an interrogation, basically.
They pretty much sent the Men in Black on them.
Hell yeah. That's what I like to hear.
Exactly.
Fucking love the Men in Black. Well, I don't. They're terrifying, and I'm pretty sure they're not human, but still.
Exactly. Which is funny that you say that, because the, again, supposed agents want to go visit the Shaw family.
Okay.
Right? And they questioned Frank, his wife, and his young daughter, Desiree. And afterwards, and this went on for a few hours, they pulled Frank aside and essentially told Frank that if he wanted to keep his family safe, he is never to talk about this again. Now,
that's true Men in Black fashion, dude.
Exactly.
I love how they treat this like the same way that. Did you hear anything about that? Hasbro sending the Pinkertons to some dude who received the wrong Magic the Gathering set.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason in my head, I'm just like, this reminds me so much of that for some reason. This is so off topic, but anyways, continue.
So Frank, terrified, being that he is a government employee and he works, he's not like he's just a drone at NASA. He's an he works in the archives, so he knows, pretty much all of, or I'm assuming, the guy knows a lot of the, the Blackwater stuff, has a lot of, he's privy to a lot of information that most people wouldn't have their hands on.
Ins and outs. He probably knows a little bit more than the average average desk jockey there.
Exactly. So Frank doesn't say a word of this. When people ask him about it, he apparently would like turn away, wouldn't say anything.
Well, yeah, dude, he just had 2 fucking aliens threaten his family and his life. Like, I would be quiet too. But at the same time, also, I probably wouldn't. I can't stop talking about shit that I probably shouldn't talk about all the time. It's gotten me in trouble more than once.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's also like mid to late 80s. There's a lot of shit going on with like, just the government as a whole. Everyone's going fucking crazy. Terrorism's on the rise. Like he doesn't want to be charged with treason.
Fair.
Right? So he doesn't say anything, right? For 18 years. Not a word. Doesn't say anything. But his daughter was like, no, fuck this. I'm not letting this go. This is a great story. Like my dad clearly saw something.
Yeah. So she's got to be like in her 20s at this point, right?
Yeah, so 1986. Let me whip out the old calculator here.
Do you know how old was she in 1986?
Well, it was 2004 when she gave the interview.
Yeah. Who'd she give the interview to? Was it George Norrie? Please tell me it was fucking George Norrie.
No, I believe it was Nick Redford.
Oh, that's not whatever.
Yeah, not as cool. Yeah, we all know how you feel about Nick Redford.
I don't mind. So I don't mind Nick Redford. It's fucking the other guy, the other alien, Nick Pope. Or whatever his name is.
Oh yeah,
I fucking hate that guy.
And that's pretty much all we know about the Gargoyle, right?
Was from the daughter's retelling of the story.
Right, it's from the daughter's retelling the story. Now it's unclear whether or not Frank Shaw is dead. I would love to know everyone else's encounter. Right, I mean, there's a whole file, right? So it's not like it's 1 or 2 people. And the fact that 2 dogs were killed, like there's a lot to be said about this, right? Now, my immediate first thought was this isn't the first time that we've seen like cryptids around bases or alien activity and like UFO activity around bases. I mean, the Rendlesham Forest with the UFOs.
Yeah.
The whole theory.
I never heard of a fucking fleshy winged
gargoyle.
Yeah, dude. Like, what is that? It has Mothman vibes. A little bit.
It has Mothman vibes. It has Owlman of Cornwall vibes. There's a lot of like things that I wish we had more details on, but it is a very cool like one-off cryptid because of the fact that like, it's not like it's just, like Sam the Sandown Clan. It's not like two kids. It's a NASA archivist. You know what I mean? Like this guy's got some credibility. He has a lot. Explains why he didn't say anything for 18 years after, Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith and the less jiggy with it kind came to come visit him. But it's a cool story. I think that it's, I don't know. Actually, Dave, I would like to know what you think about it. Give me your thoughts, questions.
All right. I don't even know where to begin. It's all bad. So it was just a very short sighting.
Yeah.
But it has all the best elements. It has weird fleshy creatures. It's got Men in Black, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
It's got threatening small children. Also, big fan. Now, does Texas have those flying fox bats? Is that like a thing? Could it have been like, is there any animal that it could be? Was it a harpy eagle or something like that?
Well, I know that like Texas is a huge bat country to begin with.
Yeah.
If you go to like Austin, like you'll literally see, on certain bridges, you'll legitimately see like just hundreds of bats just swarm around you, like that scene of Dark Knight where Christian Bale goes into the cave and it's just,
No. I don't know. I don't know what to think, man. Like, it's weird. It's weird as fuck.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
I don't know what I would do. I would cry.
It's super bizarre. I mean, the fact that like it takes place in like a very well-known NASA base is huge.
Yeah.
And I did look it up. MetaZoo does have a Frank Shaw Gargoyle card.
Do they really?
I kind of want it. Yeah, it's great.
That's fucking hilarious.
It is great.
I'd never heard of this before.
Yeah, I've been trying to do as much research as I can, and I really wish there was like more, to go off of, but it's just such a short and obscure story.
Maybe we'll try and do some more research and see if we can do like a follow-up episode. Because I feel like this is just the beginning. Like I feel like the story is just like a taste of something bigger. You know what I mean? Like there has to be more to this story out there. There's no way that it's just this dude saw something and then 18 years later his daughter told the story. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole span in between, or also even further back, considering that they had a file of other people who saw it. His story can't be the only one.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I wonder if like with all of this kind of segueing, seeing a little UFO alien stuff in here. I mean, I wonder with all of the disclosure that we've been getting with, UFOs and things like that, like, will we ever get,
Well, I don't know if they would ever disclose things that happened like on government property. I feel like that'd be too like, you know what I mean? Like all those sightings of UFOs that were like fucking with like the nuclear consoles and stuff like that. Like I don't think the government straight up told us that. It was like people who worked there. Like I don't think the government would be like, oh yeah, this one time a bunch of UFOs fucked with our nukes. Like that. So I feel like they wouldn't tell us about something that happened directly on a base. But I mean, they'll definitely release footage of like something going in and out of the water near a ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think that it's like, I'm sorry, it was Nick Redfern, not Redford. Redfern in 2006 is when she gave the interview.
Isn't Nick Redford an actor? Am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was thinking, I get them confused. Nick Redfern.
Well, as long as it wasn't fucking Nick Pope, then I don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, valid. I mean, I think you're right. What makes it even more like curious to me is the fact that no one else was like, yeah, here's my story, Nick Redfern, like, enjoy. Maybe they were all scared. I mean, the fact that two of them did come to the base from like, hey, you can't talk about this or we'll kill you and your wife.
Yeah, but I mean, the Men in Black do that shit all the time and people still talk about it. And then as far as I know, they're not dead. Maybe.
Valid. Maybe.
If she told the story of her father, you would think that someone would have seen that and been like, oh, well, I have my own story. If she's talking about it and she hasn't gotten brutally murdered by 2 6-foot-tall extraterrestrials, maybe I'm safe to talk about it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think the fact that like, her dad didn't talk about it kind of put the, the fear of God into her, right? It also doesn't say like how old Desiree was when she gave the interview. She could have been like old as dirt.
There's no way, unless she was like already like 40 in the 80s.
Been, like, right, or she could have been 20 in the 80s.
Yeah, that's still only...
And now she's like 50.
That's not old as
55,
dirt.
60. I mean, in the Men in Black, what did they do? They kill a 50-year-old woman? Probably has parts of the story wrong.
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I think that my thing is this is like the fact like it does nail pretty much everything, right? It has like the fact that there were apparent multiple sightings of it, animal mutilations, Men in Black, government cover up.
Yeah, I think this is I think this should be a to be continued, and then
to be continued.
We won't do a full episode if we can't find it, but we'll definitely give an update if we could find more information because this is a good story.
For sure.
I like it. I do like it a lot. I was not expecting a disgusting flesh gargoyle, but I'm happy that it happens.
It as soon as I heard that, I paused the podcast and I was listening about it. I'm like, it's just Jeepers Creepers. Like it just sounds like Jeepers Creepers. And I wonder if the guy that like, wrote that movie and like came up with the guy that came up with the creature design didn't know about this because it sounds just like how Creepers wings come out of his body.
Such a fucking gross. I hate the sound of squelching flesh.
He almost referred to it as like dried paper cracking.
Oh, it's even worse.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't know why, but that's so much worse.
Yeah, it's so much worse. It's so much worse. Oh, but shit. Yeah, Dave, that's that is the Frank Shaw Gargoyle.
Yeah, not a fan. But I'm a big fan, but I'm not a fan. Love the story, hate the creature. Kind of thing going on.
It's like love the game, hate the player type of thing.
Very much like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit.
Exactly.
Well, thanks so much for sharing this story. I'll try and do some digging on it too. We'll both try and continue our investigation into the Franks.
For sure. Sure.
All right, champ. Well, what do we got? We got
Squonkapalooza coming up.
Squonkapalooza coming up in August. That's going to be a ton of fun. You can follow us on Instagram at Cryptid Cocktail. Follow us on Twitter at Cryptid Cocktail. Follow us on Twitter at Cryptid Cocktail. Not Twitter. Jesus Christ. Follow
Instagram.
TikTok. Cryptid Cocktail Party. And if you want to donate to the show, there is a link in the episode description. But besides that, I don't got anything else to plug. What about you, Nick? You still kicking around doing Dadcast? You got new episodes coming out of that or what?
Yeah, we got some new episodes coming out. Mike and I recorded one the other night. We're trying to figure out. We're taking the show in a new direction, but we're working away. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hell yeah! All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And with that, Nick, say goodbye. I'll say goodbye. Bye.
Goodbye.